Woo! We are back live Wednesday night, another Basement Radio Arcade podcast. We have an amazing show for everyone this evening. We have, we have a lot to talk about. I'll just say that. A lot of big news as it relates to, I can't say the name of it, but a certain virus. I'll just leave it at that. You guys can probably guess what I'm talking about. But more importantly, we have a special guest this evening. Somebody who I had the pleasure of podcasting with a few weeks ago on Mooch's channel on Crossfire. We have a YouTube influencer, someone who is a big Final Fantasy VII or a big Final Fantasy fan.
Hell yeah.
Yep, and somebody who is a Dreamcast fan, obviously by the name. We have Dreamcast Guy joining us this evening. Dreamcast Guy, welcome to BRAP. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Dude, I'm good. I'm glad it's a busy week for gamers, man. I'm happy to dig into this list of topics.
Yes, definitely a lot to talk about. Before we get into the topic, so I do want to welcome the rest of the panel. Eric Jackson, Gaming Forte, Optimus Code is joining us again. Optimus, thank you. I know it was kind of at the 11th hour, but I did want to have you on to get some insight into things related to Horizon Zero Dawn to PC. We were having a discussion about that on the Twitters, and that's always interesting.
Yes, it is.
But we'll be joined later on by Slow-Mo and Slow-Mo Backslap and B Money. So on that note, Dreamcast Guy, if you wouldn't mind quickly, well, let me ask you something. If I had to take a guess, would your favorite console of all time maybe be the Dreamcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't get a chance to talk about it much on my channel, but yes, I own every Dreamcast game released in North America. I own multiple of the console. I own all the controllers, including the fishing rods, steering wheel, keyboards, guns. Of course, I've got all 16 issues of the American Dreamcast magazine, the 20 issues of the European. Yeah, I kind of like it.
Yeah, man, that's what's up, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, 13 years. This was my real life nickname. Most people don't know that, but this was my nickname in real life because it took me 13 years to track all that stuff down. So everywhere I went in Dallas, I'd always be like, "You got any Dreamcast stuff in the back? You got any Dreamcast stuff?" And the employees started to be like, "Oh, great, Dreamcast guys here."
So that's how you got the name then. That's awesome.
That's my real life nickname because everybody was just like, "Oh, Dreamcast guy's gonna ask us to drag it out of the back."
Did the Dreamcast Guy call us again?
Exactly.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah,
that's definitely one of my favorite consoles, if not my favorite console ever made.
Hell yeah.
That
was awesome.
That launch lineup might be one of the best in dare I say console history. I mean,
not even just the launch lineup, just everything around it, man. Just like the advertising, the launch lineup. You know what the console
those commercials, yeah,
everything. It was all a perfect storm.
One of the first times I really found myself blown away was they did a 2-page spread ad for Phantasy Star Online, and it showed a bunch of characters, and they were all typing in different languages, and it was auto-translate. Showed a guy like asking for a potion in Japanese, and it said like, in Phantasy Star Online, the language is your weapon, and it showed like everybody playing. And I'd never seen an MMORPG or anything, so the idea of that on a console, especially in 1999, I was like, whoa!
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Fantasy Star Online 2 releasing here in the future?
I'm so excited. I've actually been talking about it so much. All the developers follow me on Twitter now, and I just tell them like, I can't wait to play it.
And that's awesome. Yeah, we really waiting on that one.
Did y'all play the beta?
Yes, I did play the beta, and it was such a nice blast of the past for me. I didn't play Fantasy Star on the Dreamcast. I played it on the original Xbox.
Oh yeah. I have that version. It's a good one.
Yeah, and I sunk so many hours into the Xbox version, but I played the beta. It's true to Fantasy Star. I can't wait to play it. It's just there's a certain nostalgia factor for me with that game, and the Fantasy Star franchise for me. I mean, because that goes back the Genesis days.
Yeah, the original Fantasy Stars. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean the nostalgia factor is huge there for me. But I gotta say, Dreamcast Guy, I love Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite Dreamcast games. I would love for that to come back. Sega, if you're listening, please do something with that. I feel like There's so many games on that
I
console.
talk to people inside. I get to talk to people inside Sega pretty frequently, and they're all super nice. They're all super happy. They're all very hardworking dudes. But occasionally, I get to chat with them, and I always just tell them like, bring some remasters. Like even if they're super like real bottom tier, like just Skies of Arcadia on the Switch, that'd be so cool, man.
Hold on a second, man. Because Brap, I don't think you. I know you the host, and we probably supposed to be nice to you. But I don't think you played the Fantasy Star Online demo because that's an MMO. It's not an old school RPG. It's like a 4-player MMO.
No, I know. I played it.
Oh, okay.
No. Oh yeah. But yeah, I played a lot of Fantasy Star. I played a lot of the original Fantasy Star single player because for a long time I didn't know about the private servers. Because when I was playing it, it had been offline for years. But that's part of the reason I'm glad that Fantasy Star 2 is coming out, is that I can kind of experience it online at its peak for once.
I think you can get both of them on Xbox.
What you're talking about, the Final Fantasy Star Online? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the first one and the second one.
Yes, yeah.
Is it part of backwards compatibility?
Yeah, it is. I've got them both. I don't know if they're in Game Pass or if I bought them. I don't remember, but yeah, I got both of those.
Physically, I own Fantasy Star on every console. So I own the GameCube versions. I have both the versions on Dreamcast, and then I have it on Xbox.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Well, I gotta say, I miss the days of Sega making consoles. I've had so many great memories playing on the Sega Master System. It's funny, I was playing Yakuza 0, and I was playing Space Harrier in the Sega arcade in that game. And that brought back so many fond memories of just sitting down with my friends playing Space Harrier. So,
yeah, man, it's so good, man. Especially Yakuza. All those, I love those. I never really grew up with Sega. Actually, I never seen or played a Sega console really till the Dreamcast, which is maybe part of the reason it was so amazing to me. Was like this huge unknown catalog to me. But yeah, that was really like my introduction. It kind of got me into it, and now I collect and play them all. But I didn't really grow up with them originally.
Did you probably play like on a Nintendo platform then?
I did up until PlayStation, and then I switched hard. The day I saw Crash Bandicoot, right after the PS1 came out, my neighbor got Crash Bandicoot, and I'd never really seen like fast 3D graphics. I was playing the Nintendo 64 a lot of the time, and once I saw that, and once I saw turn-based RPGs like Final Fantasy, I was like, all right, I'm on that team forever.
I tell you what, Final Fantasy VII was a game changer. We'll talk about that here in just a second.
Real quick before we switch, Brad, Dreamcast guy, have you heard anything about the Dreamcast Mini? Is that a real thing?
Here, I don't know what I should say. I don't know. That sounds like a product that would be real and that people are working on. Yes.
Fantastic. That's all I needed. Thanks, bro.
That was a great answer, Dreamcast guy. Great answer. That's awesome. I would Sega, if there was a Sega Dreamcast Mini, I would be a day one adopter of that for sure. So,
facts.
But before we get to some of the bigger topics, like we're going to talk about E3 being canceled. Reggie from I can't ever pronounce his last name.
Reggie Fils-Aime.
Thank you, Fils-Aime. I can't pronounce it. Going to GameStop, and then Horizon Zero Dawn going to PC. Before we get to those topics, I do want to kind of revisit Final Fantasy VII because I know we talked about the demo last week, but in some of the conversations I've been having with some other gamers, there's maybe some contention about this game being episodic, and some gamers maybe being disgruntled with that. Me personally, look, nostalgia is a heck of a drug. And there's a lot of nostalgia factor for me with regards to Final Fantasy VII. But real quick, Dreamcast, I know you're a big Final Fantasy VII fan. What were your thoughts on that beta?
The demo of it? I'm very impressed. It's very different in tone. They're expanding a lot of ideas. Like, obviously in Final Fantasy, there's one or two lines in Final Fantasy VII that implies that Jessie has a crush on Cloud. And now there's like 15 lines of dialogue about it just in the demo itself. it's different, and that's what I definitely love the most. I was kind of afraid that it was just going to be beat for beat, but with more side quests. I'm glad that it's different. I'm glad that it's probably going to be a trilogy. If I had to make an educated guess, I think it's going to be a trilogy. But that seems so cool.
Yeah. And look, I was concerned when I first heard about this remake. I was a little concerned. Right? It's an older game. You know, how would they make this game? Huh?
Why were you concerned?
I was concerned, like, you know, are they going to be able to transit? Is this game going to? Are they going to be able to take the game and kind of hold some of the things about the game that are true Final Fantasy VII, like pay homage to the original, but also bring it up to modern times? You know, like, are they going to be able to pull that off?
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they could have ruined it. You mean?
Yeah, like, you know, like what?
Well,
like,
yeah.
Go ahead, Dreamcast guy.
Although there were all those like leaks and rumors that CyberConnect 2 was working on a bunch of stuff. CyberConnect 2 was like working on the project and apparently did so bad they just redid all their work. So there was that. There was a lot of there was like weird quotes from the directors at one point talking about like we're having trouble painting the same painting again or something. There was a lot of like quotes that kind of were worrying before we saw it. And also they were quiet for like 2 years, and 2 years without a single screenshot was definitely kind of making people nervous. But now that we see it, definitely was worth it. Like clearly they were just keeping their heads down and working on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the modern take on combat, if you will. And I didn't play classic mode. I wanted to play normal mode to see what the new combat system was like. I thought that was well done. And that might be the one part that I was a little nervous about. But I thought it was well done. But I guess with regards to like it being episodic, are you concerned by that? And by what I mean concerned, like, is it an issue for you if you have to wait a year or two for whatever episode 2 to come out of Final Fantasy VII, or do you think maybe Square Enix should have released a complete game as opposed to making episodic?
Episodic is going to be cooler, and I'm actually a big supporter of it. I've seen some hate towards the idea, especially this week. I guess I'm okay with it because I like long, big, dramatic, epic things. Like I like The Godfather. I like big, long, crazy books. I think it's going to be interesting to see, like, if this turns into like, imagine if this turns into like a 300-hour-long adventure total or something. Like that to me is more interesting than if they just made it like one little thing. I don't know. I guess I'm supportive of the idea because the demo is so good, and I'm curious what it turns out to be. If part 1 ends up sucking, yeah, I'll be a little bit more worried. But right now, I'm pretty trusting.
Yeah, man, let me jump in right here because I keep hearing people say that, and I think there's a little bit of ambiguity around this term full game because you are getting a full game. Like, it's not a one-to-one mapping for the original, sure, but there is just as much game in the episode that they're releasing as it was in the entirety of the other one. Is just not finishing the story, but there is still, you're getting your $60 worth of gameplay, allegedly. I haven't seen it, of course, but they're not giving you part of the game.
Analogy I've been trying to make for people is I'm like, imagine if somebody gave you Skyrim and you're having a ton of fun with Skyrim and you put like 80 hours into Skyrim and they're like, all right, we're releasing a Skyrim 2 now. You're not going to be like, oh my God, this should have been included in the original. It's like each of these are going to be full, complete games telling part of a grander tale.
Yeah, and I agree with what both you guys are saying here because I have heard that where people are like, oh, it's not a full game. You're setting a bad precedent if you buy this because other developers are going to, take notice and start releasing games that aren't complete. And by for what I see with the demo, this seems, again, it's just, I think the demo is like an hour and some change. But at least for what I've seen with how they fleshed out the characters, the dialogue. I know Slow-Mo last week on Brap was joking around and said, hey, what's up, Slow-Mo? I think you said there's more dialogue in this demo than there was in the whole original
game.
The whole original game. So
no, to clarify, I said that the Avalanche crew had more dialogue in the demo than they had in the whole original game. Because like you play the original game, it's just like when you speak to them, they're basically just really kind of just giving you directions. Like, hey, Barrett's looking at you, looking for you over here.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Cloud. this is how you use this system. It's just like, all right, you know, they're not really there to be characters, but instead with this remake, they've actually fleshed them out. Like Jessie has a whole personality now.
Yes.
Now, I mean, she's crushing on Cloud pretty hard, you know, and and Biggs and Wedge all have. You can definitely see where they're coming from with them. Yeah, you haven't seen too much from them quite yet, but it's like they took a 15-minute initial tutorial mission, and turned it into a big 45-hour-minute thing, and it's just like, if that's what we're going to have in store, then I'm all in for it. You know, I'm ready. I'm pre-ordered already. I normally don't pre-order things because I hate having to, like, if something I don't like happens and I'm like, man, I don't want this now, then you gotta go through the whole process of trying to cancel your pre-order, especially when it comes to the Sony. Like PSN is like canceling things. It almost seems like they're trying to pull your teeth out. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, me too. And to your point, Dreamcast guy, like you are getting a complete, or Optimus. I mean, you are getting a complete experience here. You're getting a complete game. You may not be getting the entire story, but it still is a very complete game. I forget how many hours this episode's supposed to have.
Well, that's the part that
16?
most people. That's the part that most people really are kind of upset about. It's just the fact that this is a complete game when it first released. You're breaking it up and monetizing it into 3 or 4 different, or up to 5 different parts. No one really knows how long it's going to be. I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, especially if they're going back and they're making the game a better experience by giving you backstory to stuff that you never seen before, and diving deeper into the story progression. I understand that, but ultimately, they're giving you parts of the game. They're not giving you the full game up front, and they're charging you the price that you paid for your original.
No, they're not giving you the full story.
No, they're not giving you. That's what I'm saying. They're not giving you the full. Well, when I'm talking about full game, I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII when it came out was a full game, beginning to end. That's what people remember. And we all know people always want to find a reason to be mad about something. Most of those people that are saying this are already going to probably, if they're Final Fantasy fans, they're going to buy it anyway. But they got to be mad about something. They got to, they got to say something if they don't agree about it. They're going to still buy it, but they're still going to voice their opinion. I may not like something in the game, and I might still say, man, that sucks, man, that they did that. But guess what? I'm still going to play the game, but I'm still going to let my point be known about it, just so people can know that is something that I'm not worried about, but something that disappoints me. But they're giving you so much in this package. Let's just hope they execute on it the way they should execute on it. And if they do, nobody's going to have a problem. I think the biggest problem is going to come is how long in between installments do we have to wait for the next one to come? Because that's the biggest story right there.
So I want to address this not necessarily to you, Forte, because I know it's not you saying it, but I want to address it to the other people that are upset by this. So, I mean, I guess it depends on how you define a game, but I think it's safe to define a game. I mean, we can pick whatever metric we want, but like 20 hours of gameplay or 50, I don't know, whatever it is. But if you're getting a gameplay experience like you use, Forte, if you're getting 25 levels or 50 maps, whatever, I don't know. It might not be the original maps or original story fleshed out, but you are getting the same hours of gameplay. Why are you saying that's not a full game? Just because you know the story this time is bigger than the previous story. So it's not like you're missing out on any gameplay. The story is just broken up and the game will be 3-5 times larger than it was before. It is a full game.
Cole, the same people, not all of them, but some of these same people that are complaining about it not being a full game haven't even played the first game.
Right.
So what are you complaining about? What are you missing? You don't even know what's going on. It's not the full game.
Who's Sephiroth?
Who's Sephiroth?
The demo is more than you know about the entire story, period. Just
hold on real quick, y'all. Let me tell y'all this real quick. I know I'm interjecting. I'm being rude. I'm sorry. But my grandson, his birthday is coming up in May. Yeah. I'm like, bro, you've been good this year, honor roll. What you want for your birthday? man, I was just cheesing from ear to ear. He was like, Papa, can you find me a life-size Sephiroth sword?
Wow.
Yeah.
Taller
Right
than
there.
him.
Yeah, man.
He's like, yes.
He's like, we gonna make that happen.
Even
If my
if I
kid
have
asked me
I
for
might
something
be
like,
able to find two.
if my kid
Find
found me something
two.
like, if my
One
kid
for
asked
me
me for
and
something
one
like
for
that, if my kid asked me for something like that, I don't know what I do, man.
I tell you what, I would be proud of my two boys if they came up to me if they wanted anything related to Final Fantasy VII. I'd be like, I have raised you boys well, and you also play
exactly.
and you also play on the best platform, PC.
Man. You have been knighted.
Yes, you've been knighted. But I agree with that. I don't think this is a half game. Like I don't view it like that. I'm also speaking from a position of nostalgia too. You know, to be honest, like I mean, you know, I this is one of my most anticipated games this year, and but I don't agree with that notion. I think Dreamcast guy, you and Optimus brought up some great points, and you Forte and Slim as well, about the overall game and this being more of a bigger story. And this is, you're getting more out of this game than you did with the original. I think that's something to kind of take into consideration when you're kind of judging or looking at this game. So,
do you think that this game probably people would feel better about it if, with most games that go episodic, they give you a way of purchasing the whole thing up front? Do you think that would make it go over better? Because I think it's this. Because I think most people just look at it. I mean, $60 for each version. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal, but that might be another part of why some people are slightly upset about it. But I just think it's a big distinction between a game that when you played it the first time, you was able to play it from start to finish all the way through. And this is like one of the few games. I mean, this might be the first game that actually broke it up as much as they did, and they're separating it over the course of 3 to 4 games. I think that's the biggest thing. This could be any other game other than Final Fantasy that was a brand new IP, and this would be perfectly fine. But the fact that people actually experience the main parts of this game is why they're saying, like, man, why is this being broken up like this? And then on top of that, you're making me pay separate prices for each version of the game. But I don't have that sentiment, but I think that's probably part of another reason why people are outraged.
My theory is everybody is going to totally shut up when the game comes out, and I think what's going to do it is not just the quality of the game. I think it's going to be a proper ending. I think people are having trouble vocalizing this concern, but I think that most people are just worried about the idea of paying $60 for a game that may have a cliffhanger ending, and then you buy another game that has a cliffhanger ending, and you hope for an actual conclusion. Like, I think people are like, okay, don't give me Shenmue freaking 2 here. I want to get a full experience with a final score. So I bet they're going to probably put a really good boss at the end that feels very satisfying and makes you hungry for the sequel. And then people are going to go, okay, I get it now.
So, well, here, let me speak real quick. 2 things I want to say. One, I'm pretty sure that we're going to do a giveaway for each game here on Brap Show. So a few people can stop crying about that.
Woo!
Number 2, it's not the same game. I don't know how many thousand times we have to say it. It's not the new story completely. And third, what I would be upset about, the only thing about the episodic stuff that would frustrate me is if I had to start over from level 1 on the next game. If I don't reach level 99, I want to be 99 going into the next series or next story or whatever it is.
Did you ever play the Dot Hack games by any chance? Like Dot Hack Infection, Quarantine?
I did not.
So what those did that was really interesting is that it's 4 games. They did a quadrilogy and then they did a trilogy after. And what I thought was really fascinating is that they made it where there'd be level caps. So you'd be playing the game and they'd basically be like, okay, at the end of this game, you can only get up to level 50. So you could play it, you could get all the way up to level 50. And then at the end of the game, there was a bunch of cool side quests that would give you immensely powerful gear. And then once the next one came out, you took that save file and you carried it directly over to the next game. And it carried over to all 4. So at the end of all of them, you're level 200 and you're super strong.
That's fantastic.
It was so cool. And it made it where you had an in-game experience that was fulfilling.
Yeah,
and
man.
Then still that motivation to go into the next one.
That sounds beautiful. I would hate to have to start over with each disc or game.
Yeah. That'd be awful.
Yeah, I agree with that, guys. Well, let me ask you something before we finish this particular subject, the Dreamcast guy. Do you think this game, even it being an episodic, and do you think this could be like a game, considered game of the year, even though it's maybe part one of a series?
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I feel like the Resident Evil 2 Remake is a good comparison because Resident Evil 2 Remake was different. It followed in footsteps, it retreaded certain storylines, and yeah, it wasn't just a single episode, but I think the same thing's going to happen where a lot of people are going to take it seriously and they're gonna give it some Game of the Year awards if it's good quality.
Yeah,
I think, some people have that thing where they feel like no matter what, a remake cannot be like a game of the year because it's something that's already been out. And I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
when it comes to the way they're making this game,
right?
I think that's a fair discussion. I don't have a problem. People have that thing of it's kind of. I've heard some people talk about if we're going to judge this stuff as art, creativity is part of art. So I agree to some aspect of the people who personally are against remakes, but this one it might be my game of the year. We'll see.
Yeah, I may have to say the same thing. I think it might be my game of the year as well. I will also say, I will also say,
you're already pegging the game of the years.
I'm with slow-mo.
The demo's out, and we're like, all right, the demo's out. Let's all line up to suck its dick for a little bit.
Whoa.
But I will say, look, I can understand the other side's argument if this was, even if it was just like the updated, more modernized visuals, yet there was still nothing changed. So it was literally the same exact game, just updated visuals, and then you only got up to Midgar. Then I'll be like, okay,
exactly,
I understand, because it's like there's really nothing changed. All you did was make it prettier, and then you gave us the same game, and now you're trying to say, oh, just because all that took so much time that we can't do the full game. But that's not what's going on. We got people out here saying things like, "Oh, they haven't even started on the second part yet." That's a lie. They've been started on the second part of this. Like, they've been working on everything up until now, and there's so much additional content to the point that the director had to tell his team, hold back on some of this. Like, it's too much, and we can't fit it all in. Like, this is already going to be on 2 separate Blu-rays. How many physical games can you think of that has come out this generation that's on 2 separate Blu-rays? And no, it's not uncompressed audio, as some people have been trying to tell. Like, I mean, the amount of lies that are going around about this game is ridiculous. So I just like yes, it can be like if RE2 Remake can be a game of the year contender, so can this game. And I'm like saying so far it is. Like, I'm not saying it's absolutely game of the year in freaking March, but it's just like, so far this is the one game that I'm looking forward to the most, and that demo hit every note that I needed to hit.
Yeah, I've already pegged this as my game of the year contender so far, and that's just off the demo.
For y'all that finished the demo, I stopped because I'm like, man, I don't want to ruin it. I'm gonna wait just one more month. I'm gonna wait it out.
Yeah.
Should I finish the demo or should I wait?
Go ahead. Did y'all play it? Yeah, finish it. What way did y'all play it? Did you play it through action?
I played with the modern controls.
Yeah, I played it normal.
See, I did. See, I'm doing classic. I did classic, and I'm gonna do I'm gonna do classic all the way through. Then I'm gonna go back and do it in action mode.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
I really don't like classic. I think classic is too easy. But I played the whole demo.
It definitely is easy because it's definitely easier than action.
Yeah. Well, maybe there are some people out here, who work in,
Oh, here we go.
Who work in very popular publications that might need to try classic.
Not like that, Slow-Mo.
I'm just saying, if you can't read the instructions that are given to you, they stop the combat. They say stop. And then you said, nope, I'm just going to skip all this stuff and just hack, and you got to the boss and you got curb stomped.
Whoa, hold on. We got breaking news here. Hold on just a sec.
Oh, man,
Eric, is this true?
Yeah, I was just looking at it.
The whole season?
A player was tested positive for CV.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I guess that would do it.
Oh,
Do what now?
The NBA have suspended the regular season because a player tested positive for the T virus.
Where do you see this at?
Eric just
hitting Twitter now.
Oh my goodness! Wow, and it's funny, like it's not funny, but Dreamcast guy and I were talking about the virus and the impact it's had, and actually, maybe this is a good segue now. Before we segue to E3, I will say, Dreamcast guy, I don't know if you know about Trials of Mana, but that's coming out as well in April. Yeah. And I thought about pre-ordering, but I was like, nope, I got to get through Final Fantasy VII first. So, but while so the NBA's just announced that they're canceling the season. I was talking to the gentleman, prior to going live. I was talking to Dreamcast guy. We're talking about the whole.
Hey, wait a minute, real quick. Where do y'all see this at? Like, can somebody post a link in the chat or something?
I just got a notification on my phone about it from
it's trending on Twitter right now. Code.
Yeah, I'll send something in the chat.
Yeah, send something in the chat, please. But I know the NCAA just announced that they were going to have the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments. They would still play them, but they're not going to have any. They're going to play in empty arenas.
It was Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is the one that tested positive.
And actually, the U.S. has banned travel to Europe right now as well. That just happened tonight. So, there's a lot. Look,
close my wife's school like any moment now.
Wow. And so I'm only,
I
put it in the chat because you guys were like in the middle of talking something. I didn't want to
Wow.
Yeah, no worries, Z. This is just a very interesting time. I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. Code, I know you haven't. You've been around since the 1920s. I'm sorry, Code. I had to throw a little shade, man.
Man, it's all love. Shoot.
But it's just, I'm shocked. I'm shocked, but I can't say I'm surprised either. But I'm shocked. Like this is crazy. It's so, here we are. Look, for those who didn't know, I say we, myself and Eric Jackson, B Money, and Gaming Forte, we were all supposed to go to E3 this year. We had booked our flights. We had booked, a place. We were going to stay with the Iron Lords. There were going to be some other individuals going. Ains from Season Gaming was going to be there. Boomstick XL was going to be there from Double Barrel Gaming. Dreamcast guy, were you planning on going to E3?
So I'm not even sure what I'm going to do now. I was going to fly up and visit Spawnwave. Spawnwave just built a big office, and so our secret plan originally was that we were going to fly up there, and he has like a streaming space, and we were just going to literally like sit there and watch all the press conferences live and just be like live on camera 12 hours a day.
Yeah,
but it's no longer going to have a set press conference schedule. I mean, it's kind of I'm not even sure if I should refund my plane tickets to go visit him.
Yeah. Wow. That's it's. It's in the state. Spawnwave and I are in the same state. It's in our state. I don't know if it's in your state, Dreamcast guy, but it's here. This is serious stuff. I mean, and so E3, and I caught wind last week that that there was developers talking about withdrawing, or that the potential of E3 potentially might be canceled. And that happened this week, and so it's more than anything, I feel for the people that are behind the scenes, planning E3, the developers that were anxiously or were working hard on putting together those vertical slices, if you will, to show off at E3, and some of the smaller developers that were looking forward to networking. That's not going to happen this year. I really feel for those individuals. And this is the first time since 1996 that we're not gonna have an E3, and again, it's 90 days away, but still, I mean, this thing is this virus, if you will, is just spreading more. It's doing what the CDC said it was gonna do.
More breaking news, though.
What's that?
Even
more breaking news.
What's going
Tom
on?
Hanks and Rita Wilson have tested positive and have been quarantined.
Oh wow.
Tom Hanks
who?
and Rita who?
Wilson.
Who are these people?
Tom Hanks, the actor.
Tom Hanks. Oh wow, that's big.
And Rita Wilson, an actress. They've both been it's all kind of stuff, man, flying
I'm
around.
gonna have to look up Rita. Well, I don't remember her.
I'm about to,
Okay.
Y'all talking about now?
I'm about to just stay in my home from now on.
Oh, dude, man, my wife just
Dude,
showed us
that's,
that.
that's actually what they were saying, like on the news. Like, you know, if you're not feeling well, just stay home. You know, you get better unless you really feel like you're on death's door. But they said if you can, avoid big gatherings, like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was actually watching this news thing that was talking about they had a guy that actually worked on he helped, you know, worked on Ebola, you know, prevent Ebola in Africa. And he was talking about prevention, and he was just saying, like, the reason why they keep canceling so many things is because the biggest and most common way for it to spread is in big gatherings, especially when you have close quarters and you can't like get a lot of space. So if one person has it and they may try to have enough self-control to not sneeze among a bunch of people, but they've been sneezing before they got there. So, you know, and the particles and everything that's been coming out of their mouth and nose is all over their clothes. So you're in close proximity at sporting events, conventions, stuff like E3. You're gonna be bumping into people, rubbing up against people. You're spreading that to everyone else, even if you're not at that time sneezing. So it's just it's best to do this to prevent, you know, further damage.
Yeah,
probably doesn't help that our presidential administration didn't have the right kits when they first started.
So there was a tweet on Twitter, obviously, where this guy is like a 30 tweet long thread where basically he went to the ER. They said he would have his results in 48 hours. It's been a week. One of the emergency room nurses told him that he didn't have it, but he checked with the county anyway or whatever. And long story short, he was like, if he would have listened to that emergency room nurse and if he had known better on his own to get some sort of verification, that he, his wife, and his children would have been thinking that they were cool and he could have been around potentially spreading it to everyone at his job because the ER told him that he was good. And it demonstrated just how unprepared we are to deal with these cases.
Right. Wow. And, you know, big shout out to our good friend, Nick, Undead 3XVI. The facility, his employer where he works shut down his, you know, the location he's at because one of the employees tested positive for the virus. He's being tested now. So, I mean, it's just like, this thing is, this is.
Yeah, I say leave it to the U.S. because other regions and countries have started like slowing it down and like figuring it out, and we're like, give it to everybody.
Well, I mean, give it
to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it sounds like now at least they're locking things down. I think this is just the beginning of that. You know,
I mean, this should have happened a long time ago.
Yeah, but I'll say this. I mean, you know, unfortunately, those individuals who said that Sony didn't go to PAX East because they were using the virus as an excuse. No, this is not. That was never the case, and this is proof of that.
People are still on that wave, and that was the whole thing. It wasn't about being afraid to go to an area because somebody may have it. It's about you're not trying to continue spreading it because at that point, no one knows who had what.
Yeah.
That's what that was about. That's what people didn't seem to understand. And it's like,
so we understand it now.
Yeah.
Well, the figure is it's 100. They say it's around 100,000 critical care units in the country, and at most point 65% of them are used. So they're saying 35%. So they're trying to stop that huge spike that's going to happen, and that's why they were talking about not canceling, but just having stadiums without people in them and playing the games, and you know. Honestly, and then concerts, not having those concerts anymore. I mean, this is just the next step in that. I mean, it should have been something they did a long time ago, but it's just real funny to me how the people that make fun of this whole disaster in America are just reacting to it now. It's like you had a chance to make it a bigger deal months ago. But now it's like now everybody's scrambling, trying to figure out like, okay, what's the next thing we need to do? And that starts at the top. Unfortunately, when the top does something crazy, it talks crap about something, everybody else kind of follows in line. And now we're starting to see how serious this really is, and the writing's been on the wall for months, honestly.
Yeah. So Dreamcast, I want to ask you a question. This is more directed at E3. Obviously we know about the issues that E3 has been having as a conference. I've seen some people say, "Oh, this is the death of E3." I'm not one of those individuals that thinks that that's necessarily the case now. Do you think that this is an opportunity for the ESA to kind of step back now that they're not doing E3, reassess what E3 is, and maybe come back better after this?
I think they're done. I actually think that this is it. And the reason I say that is I know a lot of people who organize conventions, some more professional, some more like hobbyist. And something that they've all talked about is that conventions are always like 1% profitable. Like they're always made to make exactly their money back and survive with enough employees to go next year and plan it all again. Like that's just the way the convention business work. And this is like E3 is just a big consumer trade show convention. So they can't afford to lose the tens of millions of dollars they're losing right now. Like they're not going to be able to recoup it. There's no way to recoup this. I don't think that this is survivable for them.
Wow. So I'm sorry, Forte. I want to ask a follow-up question. So you think that the financial implications of E3 being canceled, that they're done. There's never going to be an E3 again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dreamcast guy, why are you saying they're losing money if they canceled in time?
Because the whole thing is that there's still so much sunk cost. Like they still have to pay, no matter what, they probably paid $1 million deposit on a $10 million building type of thing. Think of all the hundreds, if not thousands of employees that are working on this. So what are you going to do right now? Fire every single person involved with E3? Like there is still now thousands of people collecting a paycheck to plan an event that won't happen that are now just trying to cancel the event as efficiently as possible. So I definitely think it's that weird, unfortunate place that they're in now where they're not really going to make any money, but now they're trying to minimize the amount they lost.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting because I recall there was this whole fun thing going with a lot of publishers and developers who were intending to go to GDC. And when GDC got canceled or being postponed, a lot of people were out that money. And I remember seeing Julian Garrity, who's the creative director for The Division, was like tweeting out links and things trying to get GDC to give people their money back because they're not going, and that's a sunk cost. They put that deposit down. They kind of knew they weren't going to get it back, but then who knew that this was going to happen, when they put that deposit down. So it's really interesting. I'm pretty sure on the side of the GDC, they're like, well, that money kind of went to stuff that also we're not getting the money back from that either. So everyone's kind of in a really bad situation. And I agree completely about how that stuff is kind of done. You put a deposit down on the building. I'm pretty sure in LA, whatever that building is, that they're not really trying to give you your money back right now.
Yeah, well, it's such a, I don't know, man. This is a really bad situation. The main thing I'm concerned about, I get a chance to talk to a lot of indie developers, and a lot of indie developers have told me flat out that they need E3 sometimes to put out a game. That there's times where they're making like an experimental platformer or something, or some pixely like art game, and straight up they're like, we're running out of money. We need to talk directly to Sony and say, hey, if you give us $10,000, our 3-man development crew can finish this game. And then as a payback, we'll only put it on PlayStation. We'll give you an in perpetuity promise agreement. This will only be on PlayStation. And then if we make any sequels, then we'll also only put those on PlayStation. So you're basically buying the franchise for $10,000. And these deals happen face to face at Sony. There are times where, like, when they're at E3, they get a chance to have these like delicate business talks. Those are not going to happen at all anymore. Like, Sony's not going to fly somebody else to talk to these people. Like, those are just talks that absolutely won't happen now.
All right.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part, I think, of all this too. I mean, those developers aren't going to have that opportunity to kind of make that pitch, if we will, or make those connections. I guess I thought that this might be an opportunity for kind of ESA to kind of reevaluate E3, maybe transition, make it something like a PAX.
Yeah, which I think would be cool. I actually love PAX.
Yeah, but it's funny. Like everyone who's gone to PAX has said that. Like PAX is great. Like people that I know that have gone to E3, gone to both, they say they like PAX better. So, I want to get the rest of the panel. What do you guys think about this? About E3, and if this is actually the death blow to E3?
I don't want to say it's the death blow yet. Because the ESA isn't. It's not like a private organization that is just out here, putting on events like PAX or GDC. This is the ESA. It has other duties too as well. They're lobbyists for the video game industry when it comes to the government. So I think if they could eat the cost that they lost with this and still put on the show next year, they could. But I think this was even prior to the T virus taking over. This was E3 was already in a very bad position as it was, with EA choosing not to go, with Sony choosing not to go, with them two publishers, really big people in the industry, not people, but companies in the industry, having an issue with the direction of the ESA and E3. It was already a very pivotal moment for them.
Someone's banging on my door. I'm gonna go check to see what the hell's going on. Someone's banging on my front door. I'll be right back.
Yep.
They probably want toilet paper. Stop.
Come on, man. Let me tell you something, man. People at my local Walmart are hoarding toilet paper. Hoarding it.
Why not like bottled water, canned goods, stuff like that? Why is the toilet paper?
How about not buy all the toilet paper in the store? How about that?
Have you looked at eBay lately?
Yeah, but they're taking things off eBay and Amazon for people that are gouging.
How about this as well? Because this needs to be said for the medical professionals, the hospitals. They need stuff like the mask. They need the gloves. You guys buying like in bulk mask and gloves for like you and your 3 other people in your family. You're just wasting money, and you're making supplies that are limited, like unaccessible to the actual professionals who need that stuff. So Plus, also, the mask is only.
Dreamcast guy, are you back?
Yes, I am. A friend of mine came over. I didn't know my friend was going to be here, so I just had to let him in.
Real quick. So as you laugh, when you said someone's knocking on the door, Slow-Mo's like they're come looking for toilet paper because we're talking about how everyone's hoarding toilet paper right now because of the virus.
Yeah, right. Like, please, just spare me a few squares. I'm crusty, please.
I wish people would just leave the toilet paper alone. Stop hoarding the paper.
That is not funny. Y'all gonna go to hell.
No, but Optimus, what is
newspapers are going to have a new use now.
Let me tell you, I got a stack of magazines. But let me tell you, I mean, and not to be gross, but like if you ran out of toilet paper, there's probably other ways you could clean yourself. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yo, Gregor Von Doom in the chat says that he uses the 3 seashells, so he's good.
Yeah. This is the future, boys. We finally made it.
I'm telling you, if I see Deacon St. John and Boozer riding down my street, I don't know. I know those are fictional characters. I know, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
But by the way, big shout out to Biggie 2316 with the $10 super chat. It's always a great show with common sense conversations. Thank you, sir. Definitely appreciate the super chat and that comment. So, so go ahead, Slubba. We kind of lost track there, but you were saying.
No, I was just saying, like, the people hoarding medical supplies as if it's going to help them. It's not going to help you. The mask is only helpful for people who already have the virus to not spread it. So
really,
that's what.
So if I have on a mask and someone that has it doesn't, I could still get infected from them even though I have the mask.
Yeah, because if you touch something that they touched and now your hand has it, and then you go say like touch your eye.
Well, actually, that's not. You can't get it from your eye. It has to be. So
his point was, I know what he means.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the mask, because the side of the mask is still kind of porous, so it could still come through. Now, if you get the N95 mask, that actually might help you. But the medical mask you see people wearing, that's not going to prevent it from entering the mask because that mask is open on the sides.
So the little emoji mask ain't gonna do nothing.
No.
It's for absorbing spit, is what I've heard. The main point of it is if you already have it, it'll help others around you. But if you're breathing in tons of air through the mask, it's not going to magically make you not get super cancer.
Exactly, and and obviously you don't want to be licking your hands if if you come into contact. But if you rub your eyes, or say the thought was that your eyes have, I forget what it is, ducts or something, that maybe the virus can be transmitted that way. But they're saying there's no concrete data that even shows that that's even possible. So,
Ryan Landon said he's wearing a mask right now. He doesn't even trust the stream.
Oh my. So, I mean, let me go to you, Optimus. Is this the death blow for E3, man? What do you think about this? We lose Optimus.
Oh, yeah, he's muted.
He's muted. You're muted, Optimus, if you're yelling at us.
Okay. Let's go to you, Forte. Is this the death blow?
Man, look, man. Everybody is the biggest thing. This is the thing. It's a death blow just for the simple fact that it's going to give all these different corporations, entities a chance to see how they can put on a show just as good without the ESA being a part of it. That's the reason it has the opportunity of being one. I mean, at this point, there's really nothing the ESA, I think, can do on their end to stop the shortfall and that's going to happen from this. Once people start realizing the millions and millions of dollars they're spending, they can allocate it to different ways to get the same message across.
Yeah.
You're gonna see more and more people use this as an opportunity to find themselves not at E3. That's the biggest thing that I think is going to happen from all this. But ultimately, it really just comes down to developers. Are they going to give them another chance? Most of them, a lot of people have been very, very particular in what they've been saying, what their issues and their beliefs and what they feel like the ESA has done that they didn't agree with. So if they're willing to give them another chance, then yeah, E3 will be a thing next year. But if they're not, and they see this as an opportunity to save more money on the short end, then no, E3 is pretty much done. So it's nothing they can do. It's all developer. It's all in the developer and publisher's hands at this point now.
That's a good point, Forte. Eric, man, what do you think? Is this you think this is it for E3, or do you think they're able to come back maybe better after this?
I don't think it'll be the E3 that we've known, which it hasn't been like that in a long time anyway. There's a possibility for them to kind of like retool and maybe kind of rethink. I don't know. I don't know if I have that much faith in the ESA to pull that off, but it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but yeah, overall, I think we've already seen the deterioration of it, over the years, and I just kind of think like people have the roadmap now on how to engage with their audience, and I just think without it being here, it's sort of like when a kid's taking swimming lessons and he's still not sure, but then you push him in the deep end, he realizes, oh no, I'm good. I know what I'm doing.
Right, I know what I'm doing.
It's that kind of thing.
I just want to say real quick that I predicted this like 2 years ago. I don't know if you guys recall.
You predicted the virus?
No, not the virus. No, not that.
That's
Please no. People be asking me all kinds of stuff. What's the lottery tomorrow? I predicted that like these companies would stop looking at E3 as like holding everything off the E3, start using their own resources to have their own live streams, their own like things like using stuff like Inside Xbox and State of Play and Nintendo Directs to really get their messaging out, and then it would be less pressure on their developers and publishers to actually get everything ready right at this moment. Get everything ready. Get your trailer ready. Get your vertical slice ready for June. Instead, you can just have it ready when it is ready, at your own pace. And then we got a show for you to show that whenever you're ready, whatever month it is. And I said that like in 2018. And I know some people were like, nah, I ain't gonna happen, man. E3 is too important.
Let me jump in because I'm not sure I necessarily agree. I understand the points that y'all are making, and they are reasonable, rational thoughts. So maybe mine is just more out of a strong desire for it not to go away than anything real and tangible, because I can't refute anything that y'all have said, but I can say this. Dreamcast guy, to your thing about they're losing money and they can't recuperate, I'm sure that might be true, but I think that if the industry at large wants E3 to survive, then all of the publishers and gaming companies can band together to make sure that E3 survives. I think that a lot of what I've been hearing anyway is not the idea of E3 that they didn't like, but they wanted the ESA to make certain changes that they were too arrogant to make. And I think this may be a humbling experience. And I think that E3 can be reshaped more into what Sony and others were actually looking for. And so this is an opportunity for them to reassess just how important they are or are not and work together with the companies, because as far as the fan base goes, as far as the gaming community goes, E3 is huge. It is very huge. And yes, they could have separate things, but it'll take a lot of time for it to gain the same amount of traction as E3 already has. So I hopefully, like, they're not mutually exclusive. I think that it can evolve in such a way that it is still the big gaming event of the year. People can still have their own things, and I think they can just work together for the good of the community, for the mind share, the goodwill of the group, if not necessarily for profit.
Yeah, that's why I said what I said, because it like the question was, what could the ESA do? And I just believe there's nothing the ESA can do. It's up, like you just said, it's up to publishers and developers. They hold all the cards on this. If the publishers, if they go out and they see that they can have the same experience saving less money and don't have any drop off in just the communication that they're having with their fan bases, then E3's done, and they feel like E3 is not a waste of money, but a waste of resources, then it's going to be the end of it. But if, like you said, if developers and publishers like to have that frontline visibility with the world, with the video game market in general, where they celebrate a weekend of games, and they don't want to lose that experience that you have when you go to E3, because that's all I keep hearing from people. You go to E3 one time, it's like one of those magical moments that most people will never have, and if it goes away, then it's pretty much just like anything else that's here one minute, gone another. So let's hope that is the situation, but it really truly just comes down to publishers and developers making it happen, other than the ESA doing something on their end to make it not happen.
Yeah, and it's also interesting about this whole thing. E3's kind of always been that place, especially prior to a console launch. I would imagine we probably would have learned more about the Xbox Series X, maybe got a launch price. That's not going to happen at E3. I know Microsoft's going to do some kind of live streamed event. That they're going to announce that. We still haven't heard anything from Sony. Interesting to see how Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo kind of handle things now. Now that there's no E3 and some of the other developers too. But that was some great points overall, guys. I do want to move on to Horizon Zero Dawn PC.
Hell yeah.
Because, oh my God, you would have thought that, the worst, I can't even understand.
Can I go first on this one? After you get done setting it up?
Yeah, I'll let you go ahead first. I can't understand some of the reaction to the announcement that Horizon Zero Dawn is going to PC, and people losing their minds and saying that Sony's devaluing the brand.
Oh my God!
Did you see the tweet that Sony put? What's the name? Not the tweet, but what's the name saying about people throwing their?
Yes, I saw that. The former, yeah,
saying you guys are freaking nuts.
People were mad. People were like, "I'm done with are you a gamer? Really? What is going on here?" And I saw your quote, Dreamcast guy about people being mad about PlayStation and want to quit playing on their consoles. you know, and I think it was you're telling me don't smash your console, just give it to someone who will value it.
Yeah, children's hospitals. Seriously, I just want to, like, for anybody listening, children's hospitals are always needing stuff like that. I've seen children's hospitals. Normally, they have like a beat up PS2. Like, if you're about to smash your freaking PS4 because you're a big baby, let some actual babies who are more grown up enjoy it.
Right. Yes, well said. And I want to go to I want to go to Optimus, and then I want to go back to you, Dreamcast guy, because you had some interesting points about the whole reaction. But Optimus,
yeah, I'm sorry I jumped the line, Dreamcast guy.
No, I want to hear your take, man. Yeah.
And Optimus, we had this conversation on Twitter. I want to about people are saying, oh, Sony's catching an L. No, that's not how any of this works. But please explain.
Well,
what's really happening here?
Well, I don't want to keep the mic for that long, so I will circle back around if we have time, if y'all want. But if you remember, I was on your show a while back, and I said to y'all that the thing is that if Sony is going to modify the way that they do business, they need time to get the messaging right to their base, to their core. And so before you see some of these things they're going to release, like a little small announcement here, you see a post for we need developers with NVIDIA experience on The Last of Us there. You'll see all of this little stuff because they want to gradually set the stage, because Microsoft has already done a good job of preparing their base for the message of going to PC.
Yep.
And that if Sony wanted to follow suit, they had to start small and build up the messaging. Then I further hinted around on Twitter that one of the things that Sony is concerned with is not scared of Microsoft at all, but one of the things that they are concerned with is the reaction from their base and upsetting their core base or the influencers. And so they coming out with smaller things. It is how can I put this? I like the way Dreamcast guy did that earlier. I think that it is a reasonable idea to think that there will be eventually a PlayStation launcher for PlayStation games on PC with some kind of timed exclusives, but nowhere near as long as 3 years, maybe 3 to 6 months, maybe a year tops. And I think that might be the future that they're going for. But they cannot announce that right away, that they have to do it in steps, because this type of stuff is just going to happen more and more and more.
Interesting.
So let me ask you something else, Optimus. What about the idea that they're devaluing the brand, or that PC
that's
somehow
trash. That's crazy talk.
or somehow PC's a competitor?
I mean, let Dreamcast guy go ahead and go brap if you will, because I feel bad that I jumped the line, but I just wanted to call out that I've been trying to be a hero for this.
You're so dead on, and I feel like you're so funny. It's so funny that anybody would say devalue the brand. Like, in what universe is selling more games reducing value? Like, are you guys high? Like, seriously. I think
they are high.
I think that they're right, exactly, high on hate. No, but I think the whole thing is Sony realizes now that they can basically get a lot of gamers to double dip. I think that they're realizing that the Rockstar model of sell a game twice, somebody will buy it, is smart. Of all right, let's make a PlayStation 5 game. It's big and beautiful and crazy, like Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is going to be 4K and blow your freaking eyeballs out. And then what if 6 months later they go, okay, now we're releasing it on PC, and say that's also in this, I'm saying if that was actually a Sony first party, then they're getting paid twice, because a lot of people will buy it twice just to mod it and stuff. And then you'll have access to a new market. This is different, but I think it's a smart evolution.
Well, it's really you're bringing a game to individuals that would never buying the PlayStation 4 console to begin with anyway, right?
Yeah. So we had conversations about this. So one of the things I think, we said before, when I talked to y'all about the business of gaming, and I understand how my fellow gaming community colleagues feel, because I remember when I was first hit with the business of gaming, we were developing our first game and we finally secured a major publisher. And the way that we thought things should work was not how they worked at all. And like we just was forced into dealing with the business of gaming as opposed to the art of gaming. And one thing is for sure, I don't care what these, our little comrades in the crumb side will say on Twitter, Sony and Microsoft know what's good for their business. And Sony and Microsoft, they aren't fools. They know how to run a multi-billion-dollar division for a trillion-dollar company. They know exactly what they're doing. And when they segment the market and they tell you that a PC market is different from the console market, there's tons of data and research that goes into this. Mm-hmm. Of course, there may be 50 people that cross over, but for the most part, the PC gamer and the console gamer are not the same demographic. And they are not challenging or devaluing the console if they also launch games on the PC, because they're selling them to two different people. If it was the case that there was only this one group of gamers, all with the same spending habits, all with the same demographics, and that if you took from the one, you were taken from the other, then sure, you would have a valid point, but that's not how it works. The PC gamer is dedicated to PC, the console gamer is dedicated to console, and the main thing that separates them is price. The console gamer is not going to pay but so much. And Microsoft and Sony are playing chicken with each other right now because they know they have to get the price right. If you price yourself out of the market, then you're going to fail. And the reason that they have to do this, they're offering 2080 super specs for $500 allegedly. I'm thinking it's going to be $399, but we'll see. So either way, they're giving you all this value. They're aiming it that low because they know that the console gamer, there's a sweet spot. And if you get it wrong, you won't succeed. And it is not true that person will then just go buy a PC instead. They don't even want to cash out $500 for everything that you've given them. Those are just two different groups of people. It's not the same customer. It's equivalent to if we both work for whatever, I don't know, XYZ company, we sell the exact same products. But if I am selling in Illinois and you're selling in Texas, we're not competing for the same customers, even though we're selling the exact same product. If you come to Illinois where I am, then we got a fight going on because now you are competing for my customers. The console customer is not the same as the PC customer. The thing is, all of us know 4 or 5 people where they are the same person. And in those cases, those people usually have a console and a PC, not one or the other. So this notion that Sony is devaluing the brand, I guarantee you they know what's best for their business and they're not scared to embrace PC as an alternative market, not a competitor against the console.
Well said. Oh God, I almost called you Gaby Forte Optimus. It's interesting. So some of the live chat, Samuel Unsell said losing a potential customer in the closed ecosystem is bad in the long term. You don't upsell games or subscriptions.
What was that?
He's saying that losing a potential customer in the closed ecosystem is bad in the long term. You don't upsell games or subscriptions, or I think he meant to say or subscriptions.
How are they losing a customer?
That customer is still buying your game, just on a different platform.
So what the argument that I've seen is that if someone goes and now let's say they go buy a PC now because they don't have to buy a PlayStation to play PlayStation first party, then now Sony has lost a customer, which means that they're not paying for PlayStation Plus. They're not going out and spending $400 on the console, and therefore they've lost revenue there. That's the argument people are making.
So again, there may be 50 people like that, sure. But again, the console gamer is not going to go buy a PC. Is that simple. there are certain limits to what they will spend, and it takes a lot of special knowledge, regardless of what Slow-Mo says. It takes a lot of special knowledge to be a PC gamer. You can't just turn it on and start playing. I don't know why they think all of this superior intelligence exists in the console space. I still know people, although it's anecdotal. I get it, Slow-Mo, it's anecdotal. But I know people who think the DualShock 4 has too many buttons on it. Like, the console gamer is not the same person as the PC gamer. And like I've already said, most PC gamers that are true PC gamers, they also have a console. Like, so it's not like one or the other. They usually have both.
Now, Code, I do agree with you to an extent. Like, I think with the rise in pre-builds out here with more companies like CyberPower PC and NX, is it NY? NZ?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they could gain a little traction. I think Razer's trying to do something too.
Yeah, Razer is. And so, like, with that promise, like, for the kind of person that I don't really want to, I don't know where to do or how to start or where to even begin to build my own PC, you can just go into a Micro Center, a Best Buy, even a Walmart, and just buy a pre-built. And then, I mean, you're not going to get the same level of quality that you're going to get if you just did it yourself, but you will get that same experience. And, you know, it's...
Well, they're going to have to figure out Steam. They're going to have to figure out...
Exactly. That's what I was going to get to. So, like, even though the ease of use is getting better, it's still the fact that it's a PC. And it's still the fact that, like, it's not as plug and play ease of use as it is on a console experience. It's still the fact that if you want to, you could, if you wanted to, hook it up to your TV in your living room and play it like that. But then you're still going to need to have a keyboard to get, you know, to guide yourself to your games and then sit back and use your controller. Just those hurdles to getting to the game is enough to make people say, I'm good with console. Just
absolutely.
Like, I mean, you can even think about like we see people complaining about the Xbox UI being too slow. I know they just updated it finally, but like when it was just super slow, people just like, yo, I just, you know, I think we're just gonna do Netflix tonight. Like, it's just they just don't even want to feel like navigating to their game because the UI is super
too many
slow
steps
right
and it's too slow. Yep.
Yeah, too many steps and it's too slow. And so you add a big, you know, ATX tower into that. You add booting up Windows. Oh, you got Windows updates. Oh, wait a minute.
I mean, it's definitely a process.
Updates. Now you got driver updates.
I just had
like, you know what?
I just had a driver update today for Call of Duty, you know, through NVIDIA. You know, it's definitely a process.
I actually need to get that done myself.
Hey, real quick, guys, I got to pay the bills. iDizzy81 with the $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. Says shout out to the panel, except that ashy hater. I guess you're referring to you, Slow-Mo. It's pretty savage, man. I do want to address something in the chat because I see this argument come up. And guys, by the way, we do like to read in color. I just throw that out there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think you were saying that last week too, Forte.
Sure, I will always be an advocate.
No doubt. You know, I see this idea that, like Glorious War saying, but you'll lose your most loyal and most active customers that spend thousands of dollars.
Why? Well, how?
Yeah, that's my point. Like, where are you guys getting this data from?
They're not going to stop making a PlayStation. You can still get that.
Let me do something real quick, and this is for OBJ. OBJ, you know you my guy, but let's do this right here. I will bet OBJ $100 right now that Sony will continue to make PlayStations and they will release their games on PC, and that the PlayStation is not going to fail because they also have games on PC.
Actually, the opposite, and this is the point I've been trying to make. Most PC gamers aren't buying consoles.
They saying it's going to go the other way around. They're saying that the console gamer is going to convert to a PC gamer.
No, that's not
because there's no reason to have the console if they can just go PC.
That's not going to happen. Most console gamers are going to stay. You are going to have a few, like myself and Slow-Mo and Forte, and you, Optimus, and a Dreamcast guy. I don't know if
you're already on PC. You're not doing it because you can get PlayStation games on PC now. You were already a PC gamer because you game on everything regardless.
Well, what I'm saying is, but
I'm a console gamer.
Yeah, so you're a console gamer then, Dreamcast. So as a console gamer, Dreamcast, you have no interest in going PC then to play games.
I will do it if I have to, but everything that he listed off as like frightening to console gamers, dead on, 100% right. Drivers, all that stuff is honestly very confusing to me just because I'm not used to it. So I love the fact that I just take a disc off my shelf, I plug it into my console. If the name on the box matches the name of the console, it automatically works. I will game on PC occasionally, but I'll admit that learning curve is a little bit intimidating. So yeah, that's part of the reason I love PlayStation and Xbox and Switch so much. But I can't imagine anybody switching over. I don't think there will be that many people switching over, if any.
I mean, I think there'll be some. Like I left the Xbox console because I could still stay in the ecosystem and go PC, right? But at the end of the day, Microsoft doesn't care. I'm still paying them a monthly subscription.
Xbox at the end, bro.
They do care. Yes, they do.
Well, I'm saying but I'm still paying. I'm still in that ecosystem paying money.
Well, if you had the box though, they would also get a cut of all the other games that you played, not just theirs.
Yeah, the 30% of the multi.
Yeah, and I get that. Yeah. I get that. But what I'm saying is, they're also. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still like paying into that system, if you will. Maybe
You're
not as
have
much
a system, Enrique. We already know it.
No, I'm not. Maybe as much as I wasn't before. And look, and there's going to be a small group, I think, of people that may make that shift to PC, but it's not going to be these massive droves, and I don't think it's going to be enough to really kind of, cause be any kind of detriment to Sony's overall business. I just don't see
I think
happening.
OBJ's got a good point. He just clarified what his point was, and he's saying, and which I think I partially agree, maybe not to the level that he does. I do think that if Sony exclusives go day and date to PC and PlayStation, that there will be I think it's bigger than what I'm thinking, but smaller than what he's thinking. But there will be a segment of their base that goes to PC just out of spite and frustration and anger, because during the whole console war conversation, they have backed themselves into a corner that there's no reason to own a console if you have the stuff on PC. And of course, that started as an argument against Xbox, but now you sort of backed yourself into a corner. Not necessarily OBJ, but like I've seen this conversation happen all throughout Twitter. And now they're starting to buy into those little lies that they've told themselves, that the only reason to have a console is for exclusives. That's not the only reason to have a console. And so they're stuck. And I think it will be a group that will try to migrate to PC. I do think that that's true. Probably bigger than what I'm giving it credit for, but probably smaller than what he thinks it is. And I think they'll stay there for a month or two and then find their way right back to PlayStation once they realize it ain't all roses on the PC side like the PCMR would try to have you believe.
I think a significant number will come back to console once they realize that them not cleaning out and doing the maintenance on their PC has caused some issues. And
is that what Enrique is doing?
No, I mean that's not shy at Enrique or anything, but like that's just, I think that's you always hear, well, not always, but I hear sometimes guys that end up getting a PC and then like say a year or two later, they're like, yeah, my PC stopped working, I don't know why. And then you kind of dig deep into it, like, well, what's going on with it? Well, I don't know, man. Like, it just like it won't turn on. Send me a picture, a screenshot of your PC, and I look at it and look like a cat died inside of the of the build. It's just like, yo, when's the last time you cleaned this out? You got like cat hair and dust and dead squirrels in here, and they're just like, clean it out. You got
to pop that case open, and
Man, let me tell you, this is a true story. I'm probably going to put myself to shame, but a buddy of mine, Steve, he got his degree in like computer engineering. I'm computer science. He's computer engineering, which means he builds the hardware. I'll write the software. Anyway, so he he put me together. I had my build, but I wanted the dual 1080s. So I'm like, Steve, man, put this together for me, upgrade my RAM, do all the stuff. But like I told y'all, slow-mo, I just don't feel like dealing with it anymore. When I was younger, man, I would, but now it's like I just want my stuff to work. So I'm like, Steve,
that
put it
happens
together.
at old age.
He put it together for me. It was sitting there, it was looking great, but I never used it because I'm playing on console all the time, right? Unless it's some simulator, some MMO stuff. I was boycotting Blizzard for a while because they didn't let me in their little beta testing program. So I was boycotting them. So I just wasn't using my PC at all. So lo and behold, I go to turn it on. I'm trying to do Game Pass on my PC and it's not coming on. It's not working. I'm like, man. So I'm blaming Steve, right? Slow-mo, we open it up, bro. It's like just brown with dust and just flakes and dust and grime because it's just been sitting there collecting dust for like 8 months. And now all we had to do was just blow it out, get the compressed air, blow it out, and it worked fine. Right. And I was like, man, I keep forgetting about little stuff like this. Look, it's always something.
I already popped off the glass case, the glass window of my PC and cleaned it out. Took the spray, whatever that, and it really wasn't dusty, but still, I mean, you got to take care, like anything else, like a Lamborghini, you got to take care of those things, So,
not your PlayStation. I got 2 PS4 Pros right here in front of me now. They are zero maintenance.
Yeah. It's just fascinating when I see people saying I'll stop supporting. If they put games for, if they put,
well, some of them will. You seen video of dude just broke.
I don't look. I don't get it. To me as a gamer, whether or not Sony's first party titles are on PC day and date has no impact on me, or it takes away from my enjoyment of gaming. And I just don't.
That's because you're not extreme console warrior. We do the console war stuff for fun. I'm telling you, these extreme console warriors, they have bought into the trash that they use as arguments, and they have backed themselves into a corner.
Yeah,
Luca, what's up, Queen?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just again, I'm all for seeing more Sony first party going to PC because I would love to play them on PC.
I'm just making sure that I keep all of these receipts and all of these conversations where you say you ain't getting a new system when I just know all he gonna do is say this, guys. I need one for my job. I need one so I can talk about it on the podcast. I don't want to hear that as an excuse.
No. Let me tell you something. I will not get. I'm not planning on getting a Series X.
Now we went to planning instead of not.
No. Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
I know that my 10-year-old who's turning 11, he wants the PlayStation 5 and he also wants the Xbox Series X.
But it's so valuable. You're just gonna keep it in your room for it. So it's
I still have an Xbox in the house. I just gave it to them. It sits in the other room in the basement where they play games and they play it. I mean, it's my 11-year-old and my 6-year-old.
You ain't got to worry about it because all the Series X titles will be held back by that Xbox your kids got, so they'll be good.
Oh, I just say, Cole, you can't do that, man. I just want to
note that Cole said the Series X. I just want to note that.
Yeah, the Series X.
Yeah, that's what I call it all the time now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do.
Yep, I'm rubbing off on everybody.
Yeah, serious. I do want to get to unless anyone else has anything else before we wrap up on the Horizon Zero Dawn to PC.
No, but
I want to hear what EJ has to say.
Oh, Eric, go ahead, man. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh, no, I was actually about to drop, actually.
Oh, okay, man. No worries. All right.
What, man? Speak on this before you drop.
All right. Well, I'm console all the way. That's just like Dreamcast guy said. I don't have the time or patience to sit there fiddling with when I load my game and it's like, nope, driver's not working or this isn't working or that. I'm not on that wave. Plus, in doing design and stuff like that, like I've always worked in the Mac space and use
my
Macs. That's kind of my wave, and those are not necessarily always known for hardcore gaming stuff. So
you can run Windows on your MacBook Pro. Reach out, EJ. I'll get you set up, bro.
No doubt, no doubt.
Oh my goodness.
So, so yeah, and plus, Enrique's like, man, you gotta get on that PC, and I'm like, it still runs Windows, right? Nope, not interested. I don't know. I never liked using Windows as an operating system. Ever.
I mean, there's a lot. What is there? What, like 70 million Mac OS users that feel the exact same way? Die hard, will not change.
Yeah, I know people like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Cole, you probably heard this before. You hear people say, I just can't. I can't work in the Mac. It's just complicated. I can't figure it out. It's like, what? That's always like my reaction. Like,
yeah. So, like EJ, we see that all the time. All of our creatives, like the designers and artists, they always want Macs. All the developers always want PCs.
Right.
And then, like us app developers, we in the middle because we have to write code for each, right? So we constantly have to switch. But given a preference, 100% of the artists that I did some consulting for Microsoft, even inside of Microsoft, all of their designers and all of the artists that we worked with, it was like 40 of them, 100% Mac OS, 100%.
Wow.
And this is like maybe 8 years.
It just goes hand in hand because like even Adobe, like when they're doing like most of their update stuff, that's kind of what they facilitate first. Because that's just kind of how that thing works,
Yeah.
And I've tried numerous times, man, to work in the operating system. It just doesn't jive, doesn't feel the same. But on the gaming side of things, I'm not with. I respect it. I get it. I like to goof on Enrique because he's been on PC for 2 weeks. And he's like a pro now, even though he think he's slick because he just picked up that Ori CE, that collector's edition.
Ooh, that's a good looking collector's edition too.
Yeah, it definitely is. But notice they don't have a PC. They don't have a PC version.
I did an unboxing video, and let me tell you something. It's one of the best collector's editions I've picked up. It's that the art book is just awesome.
It's kind of spooky beautiful. I really like it.
Yeah.
But he's PC Master Race, but he had to come on back home and get that collector's edition.
Oh, best believe that disc is being traded in at GameStop for store credit, by the way, towards Final Fantasy VII.
Nice.
Yeah.
Forte, you hear this? Retail terrorist, man, stop him.
But before Eric, I was gonna say before you leave, and I wanted you to hear this because I had a little theory about what Sony may be doing in regards to the Decima engine. So if you notice, Death Stranding, we found out last year, Death Stranding is also going to PC, and that was initially thought to be just exclusive to the PlayStation 4. That's also going to PC. Now Horizon Zero Dawn is going to PC. What do these two games have in common? They're both using the same engine.
Right.
And I wonder if let's say if code is correct and they're going to eventually open their own like PlayStation storefront on PC.
I know where you're going. Yep.
That like they could kind of do what Epic is doing, where Epic licenses out the Unreal Engine for free for exclusive rights of games to be timed exclusive on their store, as well as making those fees free and a whole bunch of other stuff. That Sony might go the same route.
I can absolutely see that, man. Because you actually heard too, like Decima is actually very easy to use. Very user friendly. I mean, look how fast Kojima, got Death Stranding up and running.
Right.
Because people kept saying like
definitely better than Frostbite.
Man, that game's gonna be like that game's gonna be a PS5 game. Is that's how Kojima works. That dude got that game up in what under 3 years.
Yeah,
3 years,
and it looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
So no, Slow-Mo, you might be onto something with that one, man.
Hey, look, if 2 years from now there's a Sony storefront out there and they're saying, hey, indie developers on PC, do you want to use the Decima engine?
I can't say that.
I'll be like, I told you.
I can't say that would surprise me, man.
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
You never know.
Now on the flip side,
I can guarantee you, Sony has a plan to end up with a launcher on PC. I just can't really say when or how or whatever. But right now, their main concern is getting the messaging right, and that's why dude was flip flopping on that blog post back and forth because they have a strategy and they're going for the strategy. They know where that money is. They just got to be as least intrusive as possible.
Code, there's something like B and I have always said, like on the podcast, it's like never underestimate this company's level of petty. They are petty and competitive.
They are competitive.
And I like to say petty, because it's just like I watch them. They just like because they love to throw those little bombs out there to change, the conversation. Because I mean, the joke is, Ori got good reviews, and what does Sony do? They talked about, Horizon Zero Dawn going to PC. Mm-hmm. And I told Slomo, I said that's about to change the whole conversation. I said,
yeah.
Shout out to Ori and his review codes.
EJ, they have a whole department, a whole PR department, whose sole job is to make sure that they stay in the mind share of the people.
Right. And which is what makes me laugh. When people say they're being so quiet about PS5, it's like,
no, that's strategic.
Exactly. When they talk,
yeah,
it's
going to be a whole different story. But go ahead, Code. What were you saying?
Well, one thing, this is going to be old because this was back in like the late 90s, it wasn't early 2000s. It was the late 90s. So take this with a grain of salt because it's not the same Sony. But we had an interaction with Sony. I was out in San Francisco and we were trying to get our game promoted and we was like doing stuff or whatever. And the guys from Sony, they came to the room. So we got a meeting and that was great. But the thing was they were Japanese. And so the way they did business was very different than the other publishers that we had met with. And we had a translator there because we couldn't understand what they were saying. They spoke actual Japanese. But my point is all of the rules changed when you were dealing with the Japanese organization. And so I'm not sure how much of what we call petty is just their way of doing things. Like, I don't really know. I wouldn't want to attribute it to being petty, although where I'm come from, that is how we would label it. But just keep in mind you're dealing with a different culture. And so try to factor that in.
That's true.
No, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, before I drop, I want to hit on the other point that you guys were talking about is like people freaking out about the whole, Horizon Zero Dawn going to PC and everything. And I'm sitting back and I'm looking at it and I said, is this so much people are upset because things are changing, upset because they're losing an exclusive, or is this basic, I don't have this to fight on social media about anymore?
I think it's the latter. I think
that's
it's
what I thought too.
Warriors. The extreme console warriors, they're the only ones that's doing that.
When you get that mad, it's like I've been talking so much craziness and I've had this ammunition and now it's being pulled away and it's doing the same thing that I used to jump on the other side about.
Yeah.
Here I am, and that's why I said this whole thing. That's what this is about to me. I'm like, this isn't you can't be this upset, about the theoretics of exclusives going away because that's not really what's happening here. It's just a company kind of seeing like a different way of going about things. And the logical side of that is this means more revenue, which means better games, which means better product, which means a surviving company. Do you want them just to go away completely? That's the logical side. The social media, which I feel people have gotten addicted to and that's frying their brains. And they're so tapped into that's more important to them now than actual games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like back up, man. Slow down.
So, something I saw somebody saying today that I thought was really interesting is that maybe there's this weird thing happening among the PlayStation diehard fans, like the people who only have ever owned PlayStation consoles, they've ever only played PlayStation games. This last 7 years, they've kind of been taking a victory lap. I mean, the PlayStation 4 is absolutely dominating. It's getting some of the best exclusives and stuff. So maybe this feels like their first tiny loss ever of losing an exclusive is how they see it. And so even though this is such a minor thing that is actually positive in the grand scheme of things, they are unable to see this as anything other than finally a PlayStation flop. And they're just enraged by it. And it's weird, but because we have multiple consoles and we play games wherever the good games are, if you were only a PlayStation gamer, it feels like PlayStation Sean Layden walked in and peed in your fucking cornflakes.
Right.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Right.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's a great point.
Very good point. We saw the same meltdown happen. Quantum Break went, to PC on the Xbox side. Some dudes were losing their mind. But I think
I need to pick that up for PC. By the way, thank you, E, for reminding me about that.
No
I
problem,
got that for free from someone back when I first got my PC. It runs okay on PC. It's not. I think they put far more work in fixing the console version than they did the PC version.
Okay. All right.
I gotta reinstall it at some point, but yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, but the question is like, what if you really stop and think about it? What are you really losing by like something?
I mean,
like
nothing.
You know.
I mean, hell, if they're not careful, they're never going to lose their virginity. That's for damn sure.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
And that escalated quickly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's too funny.
But yeah, man. But yeah, you guys carry on. I gotta go crash, man. I'm about to pass out.
All right, EJ, take it easy, fam.
Take care, man. Take
Go
it
play
easy.
some 2K, EJ.
guys.
That's the only NBA we got now.
I know, right?
Yeah, go play some 2K, right? Yeah. So,
all right. Later, guys.
All right.
What's up, man?
See, yeah. So Code, thank you for dropping that little bit of nugget there. I don't know if people caught on to that, but we're gonna have to chat later, Code.
We can chat later.
Yeah. So I want to go to the final topic here before we wrap up the show. GameStop. GameStop has been in the news a lot more recently. I feel like Polygon's kind of had a bullseye on GameStop with some of the articles they've written more recently about disgruntled employees. You know,
I saw. Yeah, they did like a fucking series. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. You know, they showed like they were talking about like multiple GameStops closing and some of the practices and all this other stuff. And so, you know, big news this week regarding GameStop, and I can't pronounce his last name. Slow-Mo or Forte. How do you pronounce his last name?
Fils-Aime.
Reggie
Fils-Aime.
Think of the ILS as IZ. Fils-Aime.
Oh, Fils-Aime. Gotcha. Okay, Reggie
There you
Fils-Aime.
go.
Reggie,
There you
look, I
go.
said it.
We put
Reggie
you back in
Fils-Aime.
school.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, hell yeah.
You're right. I nailed it. The former president for Nintendo of America, Reggie Fils-Aime, has joined the GameStop board of directors. And I thought this was actually pretty big news when this came out. And Reggie actually had a great tweet. And look, I am pro GameStop, not because Forte's on the show, but because I have a certain I value the GameStop system, if you will. I do buy digital games, obviously, because I own a PC. I will buy digital on console on occasion, but I still like buying physical copies because of like the Ori Will of the Wisp collector's edition that just came out. I'm getting the Final Fantasy VII collector's edition. I'm getting I think there's what other collector's edition am I getting? I think maybe the Persona 5 one, I think, and the Last of Us 2. You know, I like those steel case books that those collector's editions come with. But I also, you know, if there's games that I know I'm never going to go back to, I'd like to go into GameStop and trade those games in for credit. So yeah. I don't want to see GameStop go away. I know people are like, yeah, digital's great, but my argument to digital being great is if you buy a game, you're stuck with it. You have no real ownership of it. It's kind of in this digital space, and you can't trade it in for money to buy new games. So that doesn't necessarily work for me. Maybe it works for you. That's fine. But I don't want to see GameStop because I think there's value still with GameStop. And so
let me go first.
All right. Reggie Fils-Aime said the gaming industry needs a healthy and vibrant GameStop. I look forward to being part of GameStop corporate board and helping to make this happen. And I will pose this question to the panel. We'll go to Optimus first, and then I'm going to go to our special guest, Dreamcast guy. Do you think Reggie can help change GameStop? But go ahead, Code.
All right, I know I jumped the line again, but I just want to say this really quick. I'm not going to even answer the question.
We have to get you a speed pass or something.
Yeah, I just want to throw this in there. And I don't know why Reggie's like telling these lies and stuff, but Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Bethesda, all the publishers, they will all tell you that trade-in system at GameStop lost them way more money than they could ever lose by putting the game on PC. every publisher hated that game because if you trade a game in at GameStop and somebody buys it, that's a game sale or purchase that they don't get a cut off of.
Yeah.
And that money, that like the number of games that were sold at GameStop that did not put money back in their pockets. That's why Microsoft worked with the publishers to come up with the DRM thing for Xbox One. Sony saw the reaction. They took it out. Everybody, the industry was moving towards DRM because that entire GameStop mechanism hurt the game publishers way more than putting the game on PC. So if they were able to survive that, I'm sure they can survive putting the game on PC.
Yeah, and I understand that point. Selfishly, though, Enrique the consumer likes GameStop. You know, but I want to go to you, Dreamcast guy. What do you think? Do you think that the inevitable is going to happen with GameStop, that with digital and things like Optimus said, with Microsoft kind of having its own storefront, maybe Sony going that way, them having kind of more control of the distribution process here. Is Reggie going to be able to turn this thing around, or is it just too late?
I think he's going to be able to get some profit, but I mean, imagine if somebody like the Titanic has already hit the iceberg, it's already sinking, and you're like, congratulations to our new ship captain, Reggie Fils-Aime will be steering us to the bottom of the ocean. Like, there's just not much left to say. They've bled so many literal billions of dollars at this point. I feel like he'll probably be able to slow the decline and make it last like 3 or 6 years instead of 2. But I just don't think it's fully recoverable.
Wow. That's it. You again, selfish Enrique, the consumer. I like the system. I understand your point code, but to me, it's like that's not my problem. As a consumer, I've been.
It is your problem if they put publishers out of business.
Yeah, but they haven't done that though.
No, there have been several publishers that have gone out of business or had to merge because they weren't getting the full profits from their work.
But let me ask you something. But my understanding is when they're selling to retail, though, aren't they getting profit anyway? Like, isn't that like once that store or retailer buys, so if I give you $15 for God of War and I sell it for $30, you're saying that Sony again gets a cut of that second $30? No, what I'm saying is but when they sell, right? They sell copies of God of War, whatever the case is, right? They sell 50 copies of GameStop. GameStop buys them. It's off Sony's hands. Sony's made money off that sale now, right?
Okay.
They make the sale twice. They get it off when GameStop purchases the games, they purchase them, and then they also get the cut off the final sale of the game. GameStop takes the 20% off the top, which is $12, I believe, and then the rest is at publisher's discretion on how it gets broken up from there. So $48 of the sale goes back to the publisher.
So do you think then a better system would be for GameStop than if they're selling used copies to give an additional cut to the publisher then?
Better for who?
I'm saying better for the publisher. Like, do you think like maybe a better system would be for GameStop when they sell a used game to give a cut of that to the publisher then?
Oh, it's definitely better for the publisher for sure. Like any amount is better than zero. Yeah. But I think were it up to the publishers, they would get rid of it entirely. They would want a full sale price if someone is enjoying the full game that they have created.
Yeah.
Or they would like to be the one to set the sale price.
Yeah. I understand that, but I guess I brought up the initial point what Forte was saying. They're making that money with that initial sale. And, I kind of tell that to kind of like a pawn shop, if you will, where you own something, you sell it to a pawn shop, and they sell it, right?
Mm-hmm. That's not how games work, though. They're licensed. And so when you buy a copy of the game, you're buying a license, and it's non-transferable. Well I thought that was how it depends. Some of them are transferable. It depends on what's in the EULA. But either way, Enrique, if GameStop sells the game 10 times but Sony only profits from one. That's 9 times that Sony has lost out on that game.
Mm-hmm.
And if GameStop didn't exist, people would have to pay either the full value or wait till Sony put it on sale, but they would not be able to get it and leave Sony out of it.
But so my counter argument is definitely that this stuff would always happen. This is a market inevitability. Even if GameStop didn't exist, swap meets existed, trade shows existed, secondhand sales on Craigslist. I'm not necessarily defending GameStop, but I'm saying that they're providing a product and a service that people want. So I definitely think it's that, like, of course, Sony is omega butthurt every time that there's a triple resold copy going through the store for a 4th time. But I think that this is just kind of something that's going to happen. I mean, now, obviously, those last couple of years, Best Buy and Target have even been experimenting with trade-in programs where they'll give you like a flat $20 of store credit for a $60 game, which is tiny, but it was something. So, I mean, I think that Sony just needs to realize, like, all right, you're only going to be able to make so many hundreds of millions of dollars off a game, and then eventually that cow just runs out of milk.
Well, it's not just Sony; it's all of the publishers.
Oh, yeah, I was using that as an example. Sorry.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, but the thing is, like, GameStop did it on a grand scale. They were making billions.
Yeah. Of
which a large portion of that was supposed to go back to the publishers, but they never saw any of it. Billions.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of public confusion about that too. I feel like a lot of people think that they can buy a cheaper game and still support the artists. So I was actually in the book business for 10 years. I worked at a used bookstore, and it was really fun, but it was funny.
Hey, whoa, you ain't killing people on Netflix, are you?
No. Well, but there was so much confusion from the outside of people were like, so when do you pay the author? That was like a real question we got. It was like, we're a used bookstore, so never. Like, you sell us the books, and then we sell them to other people. And I'm sorry, but James Patterson's dead as fuck. He ain't getting a cut, you know.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like this, it's definitely been a debate for an ongoing debate with GameStop, and kind of, you know, I've heard people make the argument too that, well, you know, trading games in allows me to buy new games, and therefore I'm supporting the industry that way. You know, where maybe I wouldn't have the opportunity to buy a new game without that trade-in. I've heard that argument too. Let me ask you something, Slimmo. What are your thoughts about this, man? Do you think Reggie's going to be able to kind of steer the ship, or do you kind of agree with Dreamcast guy's assessment of this?
I think the only way that Reggie can save GameStop is for them to do a complete about face in how they do business. And that would be like a complete shift in how their stores are designed and what they sell. And then this is something that we talked about before, actually last year. We talked about this, and it looks like they're kind of implementing something like that in one of the stores in the Midwest, where it's more like a lounge, gaming lounge kind of area, where people can actually come in and not just, you know, maybe talk some games, maybe buy a game and then leave, but actually, like, the more people are in your store.
Slimmo, I don't mean to interrupt. The NHL's also just canceled their season.
Holy hell.
Wow.
Holy.
So it's about to be literally every sport is about.
You got a link for that, man?
Somebody just tweeted it to me. Give me a sec. I can drop it in the Discord chat. But I'm sorry, Slimmo.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, but just like, if the longer people are in your establishment, the more likely they're going to spend money. If someone's in let's say you got maybe like some gaming rigs set up where you could actually play some games, or there's like lounge area where people can sit around and talk games, and you're selling things, you're selling Red Bull, you're selling all kinds of stuff there, then you can kind of make it a little bit different than what it was before, and still be able to survive, be able to make some money. Maybe you're going to have less stores in each city, but then you can still be able to survive as a business. I think a shift like that is necessary. Whether they do it or not, I don't know. I also kind of wanted to kind of touch on what you guys were talking about as far as the trade-in policy and how the publishers feel about it. Of course, the publishers are going to be upset because that's a potential customer that bought the game, and even though they may have spent money on the game, you didn't get a dime of it, a penny of it. So of course you're going to be upset. But I think when it comes to a free market. When it comes to capitalism, the way business works is that they had to provide something for us in order to make it the way things are now, where a little bit more than 50% of the people who buy games are buying it digital. Well, hey, look, I don't have to drive to a store and waste gas to get this game now. I can just sit on my couch, buy it through PSN or Xbox Live or Steam or wherever else storefront I get it from, and now it's downloading. Patches, you can go ahead and fix it right away. Like it's so many things we've gained in that versus how things used to be. So and that's why it's working, because people are like, hey, look, this is convenient for me. And convenience there's a value in that. And then there's some people like Enrique that are just like, hey, look, I know how convenient that is, but I still want I want to go into a store and buy my collector's edition. I want to go in the store and get that feeling of waiting to get my midnight copy of this brand new game that came out. Like, that's cool. I get it. And there are going to be people who still going to want that and value that experience. But I wouldn't completely discount the way things are going, because again, as I said, the publishers didn't just say, hey, look, it's just we're not selling physical copies no more. You're only going to buy it digital. So, deal with that. It's not like that. They had to be able to provide something that makes it a benefit to the gamer to actually go digital, which is like, I'm mostly digital. I'll only buy a physical copy unless it's like there's a drastic difference in price, which is typically Nintendo
I'm
Switch.
Digital. I'm 99% digital now.
Yeah. So like I'm mostly digital, but then like every now and then there'll be a Switch game I want, and it's $60, and I'm just like, the hell, I'm not paying $60 for this game. It's 2.5 years old. Yeah, right. And then I go look at GameStop, and it's on there for $20, and I'm like, well, let me go get my car keys. And so like every now and then, you're going to have to make that choice. But as gamers, that's what we do. We look out for us. And so, yeah.
Y'all just see Weapon Wheels just tweeted. It said, dudes out here talking about how they can't wait for The Last of Us, and they don't realize that it's about to be The Last of Us.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, damn.
Yeah.
Can you wait until I get the game, though? Can I get the game, play through it, and then we can have our apocalypse,
Yeah, exactly. Let me train, let me get my practice, let me get my crafting leveled up. All right, now I can deal with the zombie.
Man, what if infected people did start turning into clickers or something?
I tell you what, I better stock up on rubbing alcohol and scissors.
Well, I have a tool shed full of that. I'm selling it at 500% the normal market value. So
my buddy our GT85 texted me a minute ago, and I looked at my phone, and he just sent me a roll of toilet paper and some hand lotion, and it says 3,000. Don't try and undercut me, bitch.
Oh my god, this is getting crazy. By the way, I misquoted the NHL is actually in the process of evaluating their season. They'll have an update tomorrow, but I wouldn't be surprised.
They're probably going to cancel.
If they cancel, yeah. I just don't see that. Yeah.
They're putting their players at risk, especially the players, because like they're out there sweating, hitting each other all over the place. It's the basketball players, because like Rudy Gobert gets sick, and it's like, man, you're like hawk spitting, and it's just like you're really sick right now. I know you probably are going to go get quarantined somewhere, but you've been all over this locker room. Like at this point, it's just. Yeah, it might be the best bet to just.
Yeah, NHL talking about playing with no spectators like NCAA. He said they'll have an update tomorrow.
But see, here's the deal. So the NCAA has a really big benefit to make sure they still do games, and their big bit. Well, one, the NCAA is corrupt as hell. I don't want to get into that, but they have huge TV deals. They're making a ton of money off of that stuff, so they don't really care about the people paying money to be there at the actual arenas. That's for the athletic directors to cry about from these schools. The NCAA is like, well, let's keep this tournament going because we got all these TV deals to deal with. Now, the NBA, NBA is a little bit different. On the regular season, not too many people are watching it. People watch it mostly when it comes to the playoffs. These owners, those NBA owners, are losing. You're not getting people coming in to watch us. No sellouts no more for the Lakers. How am I supposed to pay my players? You know what?
Yeah.
Let's just suspend the season because I'm looking at the cost of all this. I still got to pay my players. Yeah, we getting that TV money, that revenue money, but the gate money is down, gone.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money lost.
Yeah,
just go ahead and suspend everything.
Yeah. This I fully anticipate a recession. I don't see how that's not going to happen at this point. Anyhow, but I just want to say one more quick thing before we wrap up, guys. Ori and the Will of the Wisp is an amazing game.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think this is the best game that Microsoft has on their console or platform this generation.
Hey, Enrique, how big was the patch? Like, how long did it take you to download the patch?
I don't know. I just downloaded it. I didn't have to download a patch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just downloaded it from Game Pass, and that was it.
Yeah, I think the only
people were saying it was bugs and it was like a day one patch or something.
The day one patch had it. It doesn't fix everything. So I'm at the very end of Ori right now, and it runs pretty well. But there's this weird thing where occasionally the game just freezes for about 3 seconds.
Yes.
It'll still play music, everything else, but it'll just freeze for 3 solid seconds, and that 3 seconds feels long. But other than
Dreamcast guy, that actually happened to me like twice.
Yeah. I think I had it 5 or 6 times total, but it was over the course of like 10 hours.
Yeah.
Enrique, you playing on PC?
I'm playing on PC. Yeah.
Yeah, so I played for about 2 hours so far. And I know I'm not that far in, but the only thing I noticed was like this little audio thing.
Yes, the audio glitch.
Yeah, I noticed the audio glitch a couple times, but other than that, no freezing so far.
I've had freezing and the audio glitch once, but I gotta say, guys, that's the kind of game that I've been wanting from Microsoft. But that experience, like the attention to detail, the music, how that game just sucks you in. That's what I want to see from Microsoft. Awesome. That's what I would see from Microsoft on a grander scale with a big AAA game outside of Halo, Gears, and Forza, right?
So I would take it just Halo at this point.
Forte's still hoping for that complete Halo by 343.
I'm not hoping for. I already played the complete Halo game.
But I gotta say, I haven't played a lot, but just when I fired it up, I was like, wow, it's a beautiful game. That music is just phenomenal. What a and I'm glad I got that collector's edition because it has the musical score on disc and then also the digital score as well. So
nice unboxing too.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but everyone, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Please go out to your local Walmart or grocery store and hoard up on toilet paper because that's what everyone's doing.
Dude, do not listen to Enrique. You don't need
Let me tell you something.
You may not have diarrhea now, but you may have diarrhea in the future. You got to be ready for future diarrhea.
I mean, it's funny. I see people hoarding toilet paper, but yet I see the medicine aisle fully stocked. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with this picture? If you're going to hoard anything, wouldn't you hoard medicine if you get sick? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But
just enough painkillers to end it all. That's all you need.
Exactly. I'm going to start.
You can't sell that paper, that toilet paper by the roll.
I have 6 boxes of NyQuil in my 2 shed as well. That's going for $300 a box. If you need some, let me know.
Forte. Slow-mo, you're going to be like the Homeboy Shopping Network, man.
Dude, that'd be a great live stream. Like, check it out. All right, I got some toilet paper here. Barely white. It doesn't stink that bad.
Barely white.
Hey, room tour time, guys. This is my corner full of all the things I'm going to gouge you for.
Oh my god!
I call this rent. All right, now let's go through the items.
I'm telling
all the stuff in the description.
I'm telling you guys, my local Walmart, I saw people with carts full of toilet paper, and I'm like, what is? I just don't. If you get sick, you can get that stuff delivered to your house, but don't take it all for leave some toilet paper for the rest of us.
you scared? What you want that Charmin touch? The top? You want that Charmin touch, huh?
I don't want that Scott single ply. That's what's being left.
Ooh, I bought some of that gas station toilet paper. I bought some gas station toilet paper. It's like I'm punching my butthole. I hate it,
man. A whole bunch of bunch of jobs. A whole bunch of jobs just had a whole bunch of orders for toilet paper at their job, and it's like, why y'all ordering so goddamn much toilet paper? Because the employees are taking it home.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I am waiting for people to start stealing toilet paper out of bathroom stalls, and people stealing hand sanitizers you see in office buildings.
You can't even find hand sanitizer right now.
No, you can make it though. You can Google how to make homemade hand sanitizer.
Make some money off that, man.
At very best, just rub some vodka on your hands. That'd probably do the job.
Oh, it's funny.
You know what? I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to make a show how homemade remedies for the virus.
My store has like, what do we got? Like 7 more bottles left of hand sanitizer. People was coming in our store. It's like, man, I can't believe y'all just got this hand sanitizer just sitting on the counter. Ain't nobody took it.
I tell you what, I'm about to walk into my GameStop and be like, hey, can I trade in the game for some hand sanitizer?
We literally just have it sit in the middle of our counter so people can use it and stuff. Because it's like, and he's like, man, we can't believe y'all just got that sitting out. You know how much that stuff's worth? I couldn't. I was laughing my ass. Oh.
You know what's scary is that they're saying like a lot of these pharmaceutical drugs are manufactured in China. Guess what?
Look, man. I accidentally mentioned to my wife, I was like, what you want to eat today? She's like, I don't know. I said, you want to eat Chinese food? She's like, hell no. She's like, stay away. I said, I forgot all about that.
See, look, and that's the miscus. That's wrong. First of all, not everyone in a Chinese carryout.
Look, man,
from China like 2 weeks ago, and they're carrying the T virus. I had the same conversation last week with my wife, and I said, hey, look, I kind of feel like I want Chinese, and she looked at me like I said, like I had told her, I wanted to something. It was just like, yo, what's wrong with you? She's like, I'm not going there. I don't want that. Like,
I ain't about that life. Hey, but it's just like the whole, the whole T virus. A stock of a certain brand went down like 20% because it's named after the T virus. People literally out here. I was literally thinking about taking a picture of a bottle. Could I have a couple of them in my refrigerator? Take a picture of the bottle. It says "Living the Good Life." People out here really believing that this is the reason they sick.
People actually believe that it was because of that beer.
Because of that beer, they thought they was getting sick because of a beer. Then their stock dropped 20% because of it.
Yeah, well, it sounds like I think China's got I think they've kind of got a wrap on this thing now, right? Is that
they said they're coming out the other end a little bit right now, but
I thought it was Korea. I think Korea was saying that the number of new cases is declining.
Yeah, well, you know what it is, Korea.
The quarantines, yeah.
It's actually China and Korea South Korea where it's going down. It's Europe that's really like
they just announced their
one of the
first
things
100 death day
with our government and our way of life. It'd be a lot more difficult for us to just enforce a quarantine because we don't really rule by military might. And so it'll be a lot more disruptive here if we just try to isolate a group of people.
Yeah. Tell you what,
let me get my guns. You can't lock me up.
They're talking about
America.
Well, they're talking about a stimulus package and stuff to like force people just to stay at home.
Hey, give me a stimulus package. I will stay at home. They're talking about like a $9 million stimulus package for just in case they gotta like mandate people to stay the freak at home because most people, unless you're
$50 each, everybody get takeout, see a movie, rent some Harry Potter, don't go out.
Basically, they ain't gonna pay no bills.
Oh my God!
They call it the toilet paper tax.
Pay no bills, bro.
I tell you what, Michael Bloomberg, with all the money he spent on his failed presidential candidacy, should have given every American $1 million. Imagine that.
Look, man, it's about to be rough out here, man. I just want people to stay safe. That's the biggest thing. You know, take care of yourself and wash your hands. And if you ain't got to leave the house, don't leave the house. I mean, you know, just be a caveman. This is the one chance you really get to just be a true caveman. Do it.
I tell you what, I'm scared. I got to take my kids to school, daycare. I'm worried about that.
Did you already get your refund for your plane ticket and stuff?
No, I've got to call Expedia to get the refund. I didn't get the travel's insurance,
and
but
I bet you're eating the money for the actual Airbnb, right? Or are you getting that back?
I don't know. I think we're getting it back. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But anyhow,
it's a whole bunch of stuff that's unfortunate about this. You know, it's affecting multiple layers of life that people just didn't expect. And I mean, like at this point, I just want people to stay safe and do what you need to do to don't worry about other people, worry about yourself, and let those people worry about what they're doing. Because look, man, anybody can catch this. It doesn't have a magic wand. It just says it's your turn. So
yeah.
Limit yourself as much as you can.
I think the scariest thing for me is that there's people out there that may not really show any symptoms.
Well, they just said that Tom Hanks, he caught it over in Australia. So filming for that movie, and that's treasure these people, man, because you never know what the shortfall of this can truly be after it's all said and done.
Yeah. If we lose Tom Hanks, that's going to be a damn shame.
Hey, let's not. Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't come to that. But all right, gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show. I want to give a big shout out, big thank you to our special guest, Dreamcast guy. Dreamcast guy, it was a pleasure having you on, sir. Really enjoyed the conversation, your insight, and please let everyone know where they can find you. I did drop a link to your YouTube channel as well as the description below.
I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on. This has been fun. We kind of planned this all last minute, like just over the last week. Hey, do you want to be on? And I was very happy to accept. You can find any of my content, youtube.com/dreamcastguy. Of course, I'm working on some stuff about Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think I'm going to be doing a video on Neo 2. And of course, Doom Eternal next week. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait for Doom Eternal, and
I can't wait for that.
I'm debating about whether I should dive into Neo 2. I don't know about that just yet. So
I like the demo a lot. I played the big beta thing they did. It feels easier than the first game. If you thought the first game was too hard, this feels about 5% easier.
Okay, I might have to give it a shot then, because I played Sekiro and I beat it. I just don't know if I want to go through that kind of experience again. Sekiro was a very rewarding experience. I will say that.
Yes. Are you saying that wrong, sir?
Sekiro, isn't it? I don't know. Who knows?
I think that's right. That sounds real.
Yeah.
I'm just starting waves. That's all.
Yeah.
He's used to saying it Sakura.
Sakura. Yeah, that's how Forte says it. Yeah. So. All right. So, but Dreamcast guy, we'd love to get you back on the show again in the future, man. Thank you so much, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate being on.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you guys for coming by and hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. And big shout out to everyone on the panel, Gaming Forte, Slow-Mo Backslap, and Optimus Code. Optimus, thank you again for coming on. I know I asked you at the 11th hour, but I definitely appreciate it. Wanted to get your insight, sir, on that Horizon Zero Dawn topic. So definitly appreciate it.
Happy to be here, man. Thanks for being invited.
Absolutely, man. On that note, guys, we are out. Everyone, please stay safe. Seriously, just wash your hands and go buy toilet paper, because that's what everyone's doing right now. And I think, is it toilet paper a component in making a medical kit in The Last of Us, or maybe not?
Probably, that seems real.
Yeah, like alcohol.
I think it's a bandage, man.
It's a bandage. Yeah, you're right. It's a bandage. I feel like toilet paper's in days gone. I don't know. Anyhow, everyone, please stay safe. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and we'll catch you guys next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.